going, guys? It's Teeterbilt Racing here on behalf of Oxford Power Wheels Racing. I just wanted to put a little video together that just talks about setting up some of the cars for the classes that we run. I wanted to show you guys a good way to set up a car for the modified class and be competitive, as well as setting up a car for the Outlaw class. For those that don't know, we do Power Wheels drag racing on a full timing system. We run 60 foot. We run 3 different classes such as stock, modified, and outlaw. We have kids as young as 3 months old racing and kids as old as 9, 10 years old. Some of these cars are capable of doing 26, 27, almost 30 miles per hour in just 60 feet. There's a bunch of different ways you can set up these cars, but these are the ways that I have found to be the most effective. I've tried numerous ways, numerous setups with the draggy. We go out and test, and this is what we've come up with to be the most competitive for these classes. We're going to start with the modified class first on just setting up a car for that class. And then we're going to dive right into the outlaw class and talk about it and talk about what it takes to be competitive in that class and what you're going to need. We're going to talk about setting up a drill battery car / modified car. Some of the things you're going to need to build a competitive drill battery car. You're going to need a golf cart solenoid, a 100 amp breaker or 200 amp breaker. You're going to need some pinions. These are 32 pitch, 5 millimeter. I would recommend getting a bunch of different sizes. We have from 17, 18, 19 up to 23. People always ask what the best pinion setup is for their car, what the fastest way is. It really honestly all depends on the tire. It all depends on the weight of the child, the weight of the car, what battery you're using. There's so many different batteries you can get. I mean, these are just a few that we've tried. These Amazon ones, I mean, they work, but they're not the best compared to, like a Milwaukee battery. You definitely get what you pay for. I mean, this is a $200 battery here versus a, $40 battery. These work fine. If you're using one of these, I would say you're getting another tenth or two out of the car. We've tried these Bauer batteries. They work great as well. Another thing, though, is a must is a first gear delete. If you want to be competitive in the modified class, you are going to need a first gear delete. If you're not sure what this is all about, check back in our videos. We do talk about doing a first gear delete. You essentially, you're just removing first gear, moving the motor down in the case. You're mounting the motor directly to second gear, which is giving you more mile per hour, more gear because the gear is bigger. When you're setting this all up, though, you're going to want to pull all the wiring out and start over and use 10 gauge wire. Don't mind all my red wire. I ran out of black when we were putting this car together. We had thrown it together like a Friday night before a race, so we were just kind of working with what we have. But as far as motors, though, we run either Red Lines or Vex Robotics. We see this. We honestly really run the same times with them. We've tried both and really don't see too much of a difference. But as far as the wiring, it's really simple. So how we set these cars up, it's just ground activated using the factory pedal. I'll drop a wiring diagram down in the description, and I'll also put it here on the video so you guys can take a picture of it and make it a little easier for you to see. But again, make sure you're using 10 gauge wire. So let's talk about the solenoid. The solenoid we use is just a cheap golf cart solenoid off of Amazon or eBay. I'll put a link down in the description for that as well. They're really cheap. I believe they're about $20. I would recommend using a 36 volt solenoid if you are running in the drill battery class. I know it says 36 volt solenoid, but you're going to just run 18 to 20 volt drill battery on it. But as far as the wiring goes, like I said, I'll drop the wiring diagram down in the description, and I'll put the link here on the video. It's pretty basic. You have a ground on your solenoid here, which this is going to the ground of your battery. I just have a jumper wire going over to this side. Typically, I would have a terminal strip in here to make it a little cleaner. But again, like I said, we were rushing and just threw this together on a Friday night before the race so it could work. But again, you know, we got power here from the breaker going directly to the motors. Power here going to your solenoid. Ground here from the pedal. Ground going to your motors. And when you hit your pedal, it's just giving the car ground, which goes. And again, remember too as well, with this gear delete, when they do let off the gas, the car isn't going to slow down immediately. They tend to free coast for a while. Bill Colosimo, he has an awesome video on our Power Wheels group about a brake setup that he built. If you're interested in that, check it out on our Oxford Power Wheels Facebook group. Also, if you need assistance with first gear deleted boxes, feel free to shoot us a message. You can shoot me a message on Instagram at Teeterbuilt, or just comment down below on the video, or shoot us an email at oxfordpowerwheelsracing@gmail.com, and we can help you out and get you set up with some gear deleted boxes. As far as wheels though, these are just the stock Lightning wheels with rubber on the tire. Again, it's a lot of trial and error on wheel size and pinion combination on what's going to work best for your setup. It's really just going to be some trial and error that you're going to have to do. And if you have access to a Draggy or an RC device that saves data, try that out and just monitor all your data and see what is working best. We've put the same exact setups in different cars, and they've gone slower or faster. You know, it's different every car is different. The weight setup, they always tend to be a slightly different. Another thing I wanted to mention about the motors that is crucial to keeping them alive is breaking them in. You must break these things in before you just throw them in on a solenoid. And if you don't break them in, they typically burn up in a few passes. I would recommend mounting them in your gearbox, taking all the gears out, putting them in the vise, and just running it for 6 volt for about 10 to 15 minutes in your vise, and then run it on 12 volt for about 10 to 15 minutes. That's pretty much it on setting up your modified / drill battery car. It's pretty basic. Under the hood, we just have our battery connections here. A lot of guys will get, the drill battery connector off of Amazon, eBay, from Milwaukee, DeWalt, Ryobi, whichever battery you're using. We typically just leave the wire ends on it and just tape it. It's not ideal, but we use and test a lot of different batteries, so I just keep it this way so we can run pretty much whatever on there without cutting the adapter off every time. But let's get on to building an Outlaw car and being competitive in the Outlaw class. These kids in the Outlaw class are flying, and I mean even the kids in the modified. Alright, it's time to talk about building a Outlaw car. The Outlaw class is getting very competitive, and we just want to give a few tips and tricks on how to set up your car to be competitive in that class. So the wiring, as far as the wiring, it's going to be the same wiring setup as you do for your modified / dual battery car. We'll have the wiring diagram down below, and we'll also put it up here on the screen. It's going to be the same thing, but the difference here, we're going to run a heavier duty golf cart solenoid, which we're going to drop the link down in the description of that. We use a 200 amp golf cart solenoid, 36 volt from, what is it, I believe, Golf Cart Pro or golfcarttxt.com. It's about 80 bucks, but it is a very good solenoid. As far as batteries for an Outlaw car, you're going to want to run LIPO batteries. For a solenoid setup, you're going to want to run 6S. Any more, it just burns up the motors and they don't last. Trust me, you can try it. Yeah, they will go fast, but your motors will be done in a pass. It gets old. With the Kelly controller, you can get away with 7 or 8S depending on the weight and the pinion setup. But as far as the solenoid, 6S is all you want to do. You can do 2 3S batteries in series to make 6S, or you can do one single 6S battery, which we'll put a bunch of examples down in the description of some of the batteries that we use. Let me pop the seat off and show you a little bit of what's going on under here. So again, I said the wiring is the same. We have terminal strips in this one. These are heavy duty 200 amp terminal strips. You can get these from Amazon, eBay. I believe even AutoZone probably has them. But we'll put a link down in the description for those as well. But this is the golf cart solenoid that we're talking about. It's a very high quality, heavy duty golf cart solenoid. I would not run a cheaper Amazon or any other brand solenoid with the LiPo batteries, because this is a serious setup. These cars are doing just about 30 miles per hour in the 60 foot. I know this car is my son's. His personal best mile per hour in the 60 foot is 28 miles per hour. He's gone faster, but not in the actual 60 foot. A big factor though in the Outlaw class is your gearing and your tire size. These are, again, just a lightning wheel with rubber on them. A lot of us use wheels with foam to make the ride height taller. But again, that's something you're going to have to play with, a little bit of trial and error to see what works best for you and your child. We run a super simple setup on this car though. As you can see here, it's just a single 6S battery. EC5 connector. Very basic, and this car flies. Let's talk about the real secret though to going fast in the Outlaw class. Is the dual motor setup. For those that don't know, here it is, dual motor setup. That is really the only way to go this fast in a power wheel with a brush motor. I mean, we are going faster than most guys are going with brushless setups on $7, $8 brushed motors. This is, if you're interested in a setup like this, reach out to me. I can get you set up. Or if you're handy, there you go. Figure it out. Again, it's just a lot of trial and error. Dual motor setup. If you are doing it, remember to brace the case. It's just a plastic case. We use aluminum on the back. You don't want to use steel because the motors will magnetize to it. But use aluminum. Get that mesh right. Figure out your pinion combination, and your car will be flying. We want to see the kids competitive. We want to see the kids having fun. We want it to just come down to the driver. Who's better on the tree? Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more how-to videos.